Well, folks, not exactly the first time that we're covering this vehicle on the channel. The Object 265T Premium Tier 9 Russian Heavy Tank. It actually debuted on the Russian Common Test about 2 months ago, along with the Schneider Ollie, but the SFAC 105, along with the T115, we don't have that, or ATAC 2, or Zlog Panzernik WZ46. So some of the vehicles will be shared eventually, but for now, we only have the SFAC 105, now Object 265T. So their version is a Tier 8. Our version is a Tier 9 with an auto-reloader compared to their cyclic version, single-shot version, but there are slight difference in the visual model. So initially it looks exactly the same, but if you look close enough, the textural pack on the actual model is different, like the dip marks, the scratch marks. So a prime example is the soot coming out of the exhaust. So it's going downwards, dripping onto the tracks or the side skirts. On the Russian server, it's actually blown backwards onto the toolbox. Slight difference, but you'll notice it. The shovel is missing and the rolled up canvas on the back of the turret, but it's not there on our server for some reason. No shovel, and we have a toothpick, whereas they have an actual pry bar. It's not double pointed. Why do you have two pointed ends, right? You just hurt yourself when you're trying to pry something, but I don't know. Small differences, I guess. So our version is a tier higher, but more view range, better pen. Actually about the same DPM, surprisingly. Close enough. But faster shell velocity, and obviously the auto-reloader to compensate, but has actually weaker armor. On paper at least, but this thing is a T-shape V-hull. So I'll show you the actual collision model, but it is V-shape in the back. It is basic in the front, only for the drive wheel. So don't expose your drive wheel when side scraping, but rear mounted turret for those who are connoisseurs of the ISM or Object 705 line. So you'll get used to it, but now it has an auto reloader to play around with, like the KV-1SA or 590. What else has an auto reloader? IS-3A. Those are the three, but it's a Russian server thing. So now it's on to our server. It's not a bad looking vehicle, but this thing will perform possibly better than the 283 in a sense. Should be. That's more like a large fat medium tank. It should be a heavy technically, but whatever. Has only a 100mm on that thing. So yeah, we don't have enough Russian heavy tanks. Give us more. We already have also a premium tier 9. It doesn't play like any other one, right? The 752 doesn't really play like a KV4, but hey, this is more traditional, I guess, of a Russian heavy tank. Close enough. But here are the main stats. It's a breakthrough heavy, not assault, surprisingly. So same category as an IS-8 or T10 heavy tank, not a E75, or the actual Russian server has an assault at tier 8. Funny enough, but 3 rounds in the clip. The fastest to reload is the first shot, so this is technically wrong. This is more like Italian. So 11 seconds is the first round, then 14, then 17. So they got it backwards, but whatever. Typo. Penetration, fine for a tier 9, but not the greatest. Gold shell has slower shell velocity, but it's high explosive AT. That might be fine, but it's the 390 alpha, not the upgraded 440 alpha sometimes. So 2.5 seconds between each shot. Not bad for a Russian gun with large caliber. Auto reloader usually are like 3 seconds or 4, but that's not bad. 3 rounds in the clip, 2.7 seconds of aim time, 0.42 accuracy. So I'm surprised aim time is below 3 seconds. Funny enough, but 8 degrees gun depression, 20 elevation, 50 rounds, 4-man crew, 14.2 horsepower per ton ratio, and 35 kilometers per hour top speed. Yeah, traditional heavy. Traverse is surprisingly fast for a heavy, mostly. It's on the upper end, but 1800 health, 130 hull front, 75 for the hull sides, 300 for the turret front. Now, armor in comparison is slightly weaker than the tier 8 version, but then again, Russian server meta is off the charts. We already covered this before. Their balancing is through the roof, so they have a lot more impenetrable tier 8s than our server for now. But 380 meters of view range, below average, but it's Russian as expected. And radio is standard, so alright, but yeah, visually it's should be the same model. So there are a few caveats to this, but we'll go through all of it. So visually it is purely the same model, mostly. But on the Russian server, you can see that with the armor model, it's 90mm on the hull sides into a V-shaped hull. So it's auto bounce most of the time if you're shooting at a very well angled side scraping 265T. Upper plate is 150, bottom plate is 140. So the armor is better on the Russian server. Only 200 less health. That is a very chunky health for a tier 8. 1800 is okay for a tier 9. It's not great. 2000 health for a tier 9 is pretty decent for a heavy tank. So yeah, health wise, it's better on the Russian server, but you can see it better on tanks.gg with a collision model. So here is the Russian server, but switch to the collision model, you can see that the bottom is a T shape. The frontal drive wheel is standard into a box of a shape, so not exactly V shape, but the back end is V shape. All of the back end is V shape. So when you're side scraping, it's mostly auto bounce. Unless you have a high caliber gun, but it's mostly auto bounce. Unless you shoot the belly, if you can. Oh no, that's the tracks. You can't. It's auto bounce. So only weak armor is the drive wheel, and that's where it's flat. It's not V-shape right here. You can see the V-shape starts after the drive wheel. So that's what's important about side scraping with this vehicle. Don't reverse side scrape. That's a bad idea. You already have a rear mounted turret. Just side scrape. You'll be fine. But yeah, the Russian server has better upper plate and better lower plate, at least on paper. So yeah, 150, 250. I thought it was 300. Might be a few slight trade-off. 300mm on the turret front for our server compared to 250, but then again, who the hell knows? It says 6 degrees of gun depression compared to 8 degrees. Initial page of the Supertest, but this could be explained with tanks.gg. You can see that it's 6 degrees in the front and in the back for gun depression. It's 8 to the sides. So like with stuff like the E50s in a sense, or Waffenträger Panzer IV, you get better gun depression or elevation at the sides compared to the middle. So slight detail you have to be wary of, but alright. So tier 9 with the autoreloader. It's quick between each shot, but DPM is not bad. I mean 2200 DPM. So you'll reload for the 3 rounds and you play like a normal tank afterwards with a single shot, but does the armor hold up? That's a question. 130 compared to 150 on the Russian server. You only get 200 more health, but about 1 horsepower per ton ratio more. It should be about 13 or so. 13.14 on the Russian server. So slightly faster to rev, but what about terrain resistance? We'll have to see. For now, traverse is about the same for the turret, faster for the hull. Funny enough. Alright, fine. View range, crap view range for a tier 8. Russian heavy tanks all have this crap view range of 350. That's a given. So yeah, slightly buffed, but not much. Camo about the same. It's 50 rounds compared to 40 rounds. We get more ammo to spam, but they'll probably nerf the crap out of the dispersion, like what they did with the E77 or upcoming Felice. So Felice already got nerfed. Dispersion sucks. 0.24 for a medium tank. That is horrendous. But shell velocity is faster than the Russian server, slightly, but better pin by 20mm for a tier higher. Unfortunate, but it is a premium still with the autoreloader. Does it compete with a Tiger Mouse as a go-to breakthrough heavy tank? Tiger Mouse is assault technically, but 752 is more of a support heavy if you play it like a autoloader thing. It is an autoloader, not a reloader. I don't know how I feel about this thing. I mean, it is a tier higher, but the main downside to the playing of this vehicle is the nerf side scraping. But if it's V-shaped hull still, then 75mm is practically the same as 90. So the discrepancy I mentioned before about difference in the visual model, some of it also affects collision model. So the prime example I'm going to use is the Russian servers SFAC 105. They call it the Schneider Oli. Has a different collision model for the gun loading mechanism. So they don't count the loader, the mechanical loader thing in the back. It's there, but it can only damage the gun or damage the loading mechanism or ammo rack without actually touching the HP. Whereas on our server, it's different. So that's a prime example of collision model difference. They could do it for this vehicle as well, removing the V-shaped hull, but we'll have to see once the vehicle comes out on the common test. But here's our SFAC 105. And we have a bigger hitbox that affects your HP. So prime artillery hitting area right here. So yeah, there might be a difference in collision model as well between the two servers. But for now, if it's a V-shaped hull, then it pretty much bounces all shots, 75mm or 90, doesn't matter. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, you want vertical stabilizer, possibly improve hardening. Yeah, you want improve hardening. You're side scraping all the time. Improve hardening, fix your tracks. What's the final one for equipment? Turbocharger, optics, possibly gunner sights, improve aiming. It's different for a special loading mechanism of a gun, but usually you want improved hardening, vertical stabilizer, and let's just use the 705 for example. So it has a rammer, but for now, maybe improve aiming. No, not gonna switch. Or turbocharger. If you're feeling saucy, optics. So I would say the classic setup: improve hardening, vertical stabilizer, and possibly improve aiming. If you're feeling saucy, then turbocharger or optics. But otherwise, I don't think you need vents or enhanced gun lane drive. 2.5 seconds, 2.6 is good enough, right? It's fine enough for auto reloader. So you should be fully aimed with brothers in arms each and every shot after you finished firing the first shot, technically, but it's fine. I would say better aiming or turbocharger to be a little bit more saucy, but possibly improve aiming, better accuracy. And field mods wise, tier 9s are a little bit different. So this is assault, that is categorized as breakthrough, similar to the IS-8 or T10. So first one is better track health or better terrain resistance, but if you already have improved hardening, I would say better mobility with better terrain resistance. Yeah, first one. Second one is aiming or aim circle size. Aim time or aim circle size. 0.4 accuracy is not great for an auto-reloader. I mean, it's okay for a Russian gun, but dropping down to like 0.38 might be beneficial. 0.34 on the T10, holy crap. But that will boost up your aim time to like 2.7 or 2.8. I will still say better accuracy. Yeah, better accuracy. You want to hit the targets, right? And sometimes dispersion will be super nerfed because wargaming. So I will say better accuracy. Stun duration or view range? View range. Sometimes you don't even face artillery. You don't even see artillery. Hide behind cover. You don't even face artillery. If it's like the Great Wall of China, artillery is practically useless on that map most of the time. So yeah, view range. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, view range. Definitely. Well, not even a question. Better view range. And finally, mobility or traverse speed and aim speed. 4 kilometers per hour top speed is a very big jump for a heavy tank at least. So for stuff like the T10, 50 kilometers to 54. Even though traverse is good enough, right? Traverse for the gun and the hull is fine enough. Aim time is also okay, so yeah, I would say better top speed. 4 is pretty massive for a 35 kilometers per hour top speed vehicle. This will boost up to like about 40 kilometers per hour top speed with engineering on your driver. Yeah, I would say better top speed, but how the hell do I feel about this vehicle? If the vehicle armor holds up, it might not be that bad. You have a periscope covering the cupola. It is a weak spot, but technicalities, right? So the periscope might eat the gold shot of high exposed anti-tank, sometimes AP, and that'll be it. You just have a damaged periscope without damaging the HP, but crap. It's all depending on the armor. 75 is practically the same as 90 when side scraping with the V-shaped hull. So practically the same, but it's about 200 to sometimes auto bounce because of the periscope or a slight lip in front of it. So mini cupola in front of the bigger cupola for the gunner, but it's still 200. So there might be a few differences, but engine deck is 30. Don't face hug if you can't help it, but yeah, you don't face hug if you're close enough. Just they'll overmatch your roof of the engine deck. Just drive backwards. Don't let them overmatch. Does this little bulge count as actual armor? Not really. So if the armor holds up, does the auto-reloader work as a premium tank? Not bad if you think about it. It's about the same capability as a 7.52, but without the need of gun elevation to hide your cupolas, right? So you're more resistant, but then again the 7.52 has better hull armor. Trollish hull armor too. You had to shoot for the cupolas on that vehicle. They're adding so many tier 9s, it doesn't matter, but another premium tier 9 for the Russians, where some vehicles or some class don't even have a premium tier 9, or nations that doesn't even have a premium tier 9. Russian vehicles, Russian class or Russian heavy tanks gets 2 of it. Oh, it's versatile. I thought it was support, but yeah, I should have improved hardening for the first slot, but yeah, it's more of a autoloader. It is autoloader. It plays like a support heavy. Yeah, fudge improved hardening. It has slightly less health. That's because of the field bots. But yeah, you should do more health on this vehicle. I feel like it's not that bad. I have a soft spot for my 705s. I mean, they're very much underrated. in my opinion. You don't see that many 705s in Onslaught, for that matter. You'll see like 60 TPs, but you'll rarely see one of this on the North America server. But if played properly, this thing will bounce practically all the shots. You cannot penetrate the side armor when properly side scraping. This thing has a V-shaped hull to help out with the side scraping. And it should have side skirts too, right? It should. I think we saw the side skirts. 20mm side skirts. Or was that your tracks? Might be the tracks. I'll use tanks.gg. No side skirts. God damn it. Okay, fine. No side skirts. Only the tracks. Alright, fine. But still, 75 with side scraping is practically the same as 90. The upper portion of the side armor is also V-shaped. Not as prominent, but still kind of V-shaped too. So, yeah, don't overcommit. But if you do, they should aim above the tracks. 75 on this plate might be kind of crap. We'll have to wait to see the actual armor on this one. It's really dependent on the armor, but for now, it cannot be worse than a 590, right? The 590 sucks. It has dispersion of a heavy tank. It's terrible. It cannot be worse than a T54 with autoreloader, right? It cannot. Hopefully it cannot. God, that thing sucks. E77 is very mediocre. I just can't have a good time when thinking about the massive nerf that happened for that vehicle, but all tier 9s has a massive nerf before they come out. Like the Felice, upcoming Felice, massive nerf. The Nurgle, not even a tier 9, the Crusher got a nerf. God damn it. They want you to hype you up with the Supertest Stats and then take the whole thing away, nerf the crap out of them before they release it. Practically. Also, the emblem on the red star, that's a little bit different. I just noticed that. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Okay, fine, whatever. So, for now, I'll give a 5.5, depending on armor. If the armor's good, if it's like 120 or 90 above the tracks, I'll say 6, maybe 6.5, but it's very dependent on the armor. The gun seems okay, it's fine, it's Russian, and mobility doesn't seem that bad with 14 horsepower per ton ratio, capable of going 40 km/h top speed without the turbocharger, so that's fine, but I'll say 5.5 to 6 depending on armor for now. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.